Well, my friends, do you know the legend of Finn McCool? Do you know it? You don't. You don't. I was sure you knew that. Finn McCool and Benandonner, you don't know that legend? Well, shall I tell you then? Well, you do know Finn McCool, that big feller, that giant of a man who built the Giant's Causeway. You know him, yeah? Or do you not? You don't. Well, you know the Giant's Causeway up there in the north of Ireland. Yeah, which is this here. Now you do. Which Finn McCool himself, he was building, or he built, and it went all the way to Scotland. Now, there was another fella. Now, there was no one in all of Ireland who would challenge Finn McCool, for he was a mite of a man. He was a powerful man, a big man. I mean, he built the Giant's Causeway. Now, there was another feller, Benandonner. He was himself, he was a big man too. Well, truth be told, he was bigger than Finn McCool. He lived in Scotland. Now, the Causeway, it went to Scotland, didn't it? And Finn McCool was as big as he was. Himself, he was feeling a little too big. And he went out on the Causeway, and didn't he challenge Benandonner? But when he got himself a view of the big red man, Benandonner, wasn't he afraid? And didn't he go running back home? He was so frightened. Benandonner was so big. And he went running. And he could hear Benandonner coming all the way. He was back down by now in County Kildare, near Dublin. And he could hear him coming all the way across the causeway. He could hear him. It was so loud the ground was shaking. He had to take up 2 big clumps of moss and stick it in his ears. And he ran back home, back in County Kildare, and he ran to his wife, and he says, "What have I done? What have I done? I can't fight him. He'll rip me to shreds." Well, buchas Lydia, thanks be to God for Una. At least she had a bit of sense in her head, and she said, "All right, listen, big man, you do what I tell you." And she wrapped him in a sheet, and she said, "Get in the bathtub." Because doesn't a bathtub look like a cradle a bit? Get in the bathtub, and she put him in the bathtub wrapped in a sheet. And she said, "Now you do what I tell you, and you follow along with me." And she made up some griddle bread, but didn't she put the griddle right in the middle of it? And she nailed some fat to some planks. And no sooner had she finished cooking up than Benandonner himself come to the door. And he says, "I'm looking for Finn McCool." She says, "You missed him. He's gone down to Kerry, he's gone fishing. But I'm just cooking up for him. Why don't you come on in and have some lunch? I've just been cooking up for him. I've been making his favorite meal. I have some griddle bread for him. This is his favorite. Would you like some of his lunch? I got plenty. And Benandonner says, oh, sure. Thanks for your kindness. And she poured him a big cup of tea, and she brought him the tea. And she brought him one of those cakes, that griddle bread, with the griddle right in the middle. And he went to take a bite of that griddle cake with the griddle right in the middle. And don't you know, it broke off 2 of his teeth. He said, I can't eat this, it broke my teeth. She said, sure, Finn McCool eats it all the time. That's his favorite. I'm so sorry. Would you, maybe some meat is more to your liking. Well, she brought out the fat that she'd nailed to the planks. And he took a bite of that and didn't break off 2 more of his teeth. Well, Finn eats that too. I don't know. You know, hold on. I just have to feed the baby. I'll be right back. Drink your tea. And she went and got another one of the cakes, but without the griddle in it, and fed it to Finn there in the bathtub. And didn't Benandonner get a look at that baby? And he said, that's Finn's baby. Oh yeah, it's a wee thing, I know. And he watched the baby chew down on one of them griddle cakes without the griddle in the middle. The baby, he said, it's eating the same bread as Finn McCool. Oh yeah, sure. I think he's going to grow up to be a fine young lad. Don't you? And Benandonner came over to take a closer look. And didn't he run right out of that house and all the way back over the Giant's Causeway? And he ran so fast and so hard that he tore up the end, and right to this day, you can't walk all the way to Scotland anymore. And all the way back. And Finn got up and chased him. And he was feeling a little more himself, wasn't he? And picked up a big clod of dirt and tossed it at him, but he missed. And that's the Isle of Man now. And he left a big lake in the middle of Ireland. And that, my friends, is the legend of Finn McCool.